Hello everyone, as with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And I gotta start with this from Blue Hawk Legend. China expands crypto crackdown to stablecoins asset tokenization. Now, every single cycle, China does this. They put a ban on crypto. They tell you that they're not going to do anything around stablecoins. And in the background, they continue to push forward. China's not going to come out and make an announcement on which direction they're going to go in. They're just going to do it. But here's the thing. BRICS is built off of mBridge, which was created by the Biz. Now, Project mBridge was all about Ripple's rail system, RippleNet, and XRP liquidity pools. So once we see BRICS go live with BRICS there is a very good chance that will be running on XRP. I still believe that those rails throughout all the BRICS countries that Ripple put in place over the years, that all happened by design. That didn't happen by accident. Jake Claver, 99% of XRP holders have no idea what it really is. I just mentioned this in a video earlier. So he says 99% of people that own XRP have no clue what it really is. It's the most pristine collateral the world has ever seen. It's the oxygen the new financial system will need to breathe. I do not know how to impress upon you how important XRP will be for the world moving forward. He's totally right. Most people have no clue what XRP does. There's people holding XRP because friends of theirs told them, hey, you need to hold this cryptocurrency. It's the future. It's going to go absolutely parabolic. It was built to be a $10,000 cryptocurrency. And when XRP trades sideways, I think so many people get frustrated because they don't really understand what's about to happen. We are getting very close to the rise of the new financial system. I think Ripple's roadmap is the timeline for that to happen. I'll talk more about that in this video. But once you hold XRP, the very first thing you should do is understand what it is built for. It can move anything of value anywhere in the world for a fraction of a penny in a matter of 3 to 5 seconds. That's how game-changing XRP is. Binance founder CZ says, working with more countries to launch their native stablecoins. Every currency should be represented on-chain. And every one of those stablecoins are still going to need a bridge. That's why XRP is so important. Because if you're going to have a stable coin, say in the United States, that's our digital dollar. Then you have the digital euro. Well, in Europe, they're not going to accept digital dollars. So it has to go in as the digital dollar into a bridge currency like XRP. And then on the other end, it will come out as the digital euro. And that is going to happen in between every country in the world. That's why you're holding the future when you're holding XRP. This comes from Chaos Coordinator. I know I'm not your typical crypto peep because I'm not crypto rich, but I know things about crypto that crypto bros don't know about. For example, I warned about Coinbase. Here you ask to why. So you see, DOJ files show Epstein invested in Coinbase. Now, the reason I wanted to mention this is because we also know Brian Armstrong was working with Epstein. Epstein funded Coinbase. So now this makes sense. Remember, I kept telling you during this big argument on the Clarity Act, it seems like Armstrong is fighting for all of us when it comes to getting yield from stable coins. But I also think there's a reason that they're delaying Clarity Act. Clarity Act does not help Bitcoin at all. It helps utility-driven cryptocurrencies. In fact, it's going to separate Bitcoin from XRP. XRP is utility, Bitcoin is speculation. But that's only part of it. You got to remember, Brian Armstrong is also all about Bitcoin. He's Bitcoin only. Remember when they were creating the reserve here in the United States, the U.S. government crypto reserve, and he wanted it to only include Bitcoin? Maybe that's why they're really slowing down the Clarity Act. Maybe that's just part of it. But one thing is for sure, these people hate XRP. That's why Coinbase delisted XRP as quick as they could once the Ripple versus SEC case started. And they had no choice but to relist it because their customers wanted it. It's not like Brian Armstrong really wanted to relist XRP. You got to remember, these people never expected XRP to make it out of the Rippleverse SEC case. This comes from Black Swan Capitalist. I caution people about borrowing against XRP for a reason. When markets unwind this fast, leverage turns a drawdown into a total loss. Borrowing against crypto assumes orderly markets, but crashes like this remind you they rarely are. What he's saying is, if you're going to put up your XRP for collateral, keep in mind, if the price falls below a certain level, you could be fully liquidated. And that's why I don't think it's such a good idea to borrow against your XRP until the price of XRP is either set by the banks, I'll talk about that in a minute, or becomes stable when it's being utilized all around the world. Like I said, we're going to get to the point where XRP doesn't have these major pullbacks anymore. It's going to be held up by its actual utility. The price of XRP is $327,000 on the private ledger. Take a listen to Black Swan Capitalist here. And this is the longer version of this video. Take a listen.
So I don't think they're using another XRP. I know they have a private ledger and a public ledger. I've seen the private ledger once. I've seen the price go as high as $327,000. And you could see this on one of my shorts when it hit about $10,000, $9,000, I think. I've commented to about 20, 30 people at least. I saw it go to 327,000 on a YouTube video once. That was live in Japan. And from 5 minutes, a 5-minute YouTube video. And I've seen that the private ledger does exist. The public ledger also exists. Now, how do they keep them separate? Through nodes on the XRP ledger, right? The thing is, what the merge of the private and public, I think that will happen when this utility starts to come on, right? Also, I don't want to lose my train of thought. The XRP ledger, the private ledger, right, and the public ledger, at some point, they're going to have to, how would I say? There will be a merge at some point, guaranteed, but we have to have that regulation first and that clarity before they go ahead and utilize them.
What he's saying is, first we need clarity and regulations. Then we will see the banks come out of the testing phase. And when he's talking about the merge between the private ledger and the public ledger, I think that starts with what's going to happen soon with the XRP ledger. I'll talk about that in a second. But when he said this, he's talking about them setting the price of XRP. And people always said that was going to happen, like a flip of the switch moment. Here's David Schwartz back in 2022. I guess I must have bumped into the switch while I was sleeping. We know there's a flip of the switch moment for XRP. It's when the banks go live with XRP all around the world, and they start using it as the bridge currency that it was built to be. So Ripple unveils new XRP ledger roadmap positioning XRP as a core settlement and bridge asset. That's what it's all about. That's the end game. So think about what just happened. It was all about privacy on the XRP ledger, private domains, and so on. Now, if you follow the roadmap that Ripple has for the XRP ledger, that could also be the roadmap for the flip of the switch moment. Even David Schwartz just the other day said the reason we're not seeing all this volume and the reason why Ripple can't utilize the XRP ledger DEX yet is because it's the lack of privacy, which is what they are working on right now. That's when I think you're going to see the merge of the public ledger and the private ledger working together at the same time. So bank transactions and things like that will remain private, but they will be traveling across the public ledger at the same time. I think that's the direction this is going in, because it was all about public and private ledger for the last 6 months. That was all the talk. Now, Ripple's putting all those things in place over the course of the next 12 to 24 months. And that's why I think we're going to see the rise of the new financial system, most likely by the end of 2027. Breaking, David Schwartz just flipped the script. A low XRP price equals higher costs for payments and exchanges. Utility isn't about being cheap. It's about efficiency, liquidity, and scale. This isn't speculation. It's design. XRP cannot remain cheap because the cost rise with a cheaper XRP. That's why they will set the price of XRP at some point in the very near future. Prediction market, Polymarket says XRP has a 58% chance to fall below $1 in February. And that's been rising. And I think it's because a lot of the chart guys, they're still expecting that one last dump before we take off. I still don't think that's going to happen. I think XRP is going to hold above $1. Now, if it goes below $1, I'm backing up the truck. I actually just bought more XRP on this last dip. It was just too dirt cheap to let it pass by. But I bought a little bit higher. I think it was like $1.19. So I look at it like this. Whatever I bought at $1.19 is soon going to be 10x from where it is right now. Because I still know that XRP is going to double digits very soon. History rhymes. The Riddlers were right. XRP holders. Look at this side-by-side comparison of charts. So the left side shows the 2016 to 2018 cycle. Right side is our current 2025 to 2027 cycle. We are going to break out before 2027. I think this is going to happen within this year. I think it's most likely going to happen in Q2 of this year. Because if you look at this, though, what I wanted to show you is this downward trend right before blast off happened. The same setup is happening right now for XRP. But is it go time yet? Nobody knows for sure. I want you all to stay positive and stay excited, knowing that this is still coming. Nothing changed. But I also tell you to stay cautious, because a lot of people think, well, I better buy right this second because it's going higher. We really don't know. If we get that dip below $1, this is the best advice I can give you. Buy as much as you can if that happens. And if it doesn't happen, look at it like this. You will have no regrets, even if you bought above $2 or $3, because we are going way higher. And until it happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.